All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
We want to start out by giving all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the Akim that pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. It's the brothers here from Great Millstone, Atlanta. Myself, Barzal, and
Karatazah.
yeah, and we have this lesson. You'll see the title, Store Up Your Treasures for the Kingdom of Heaven. You know, we're going to pull out the precept in Matthew, which Yahweh Shai said just that, and expound upon it through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemawah Shai. Go ahead, you can jump straight to it.
God, it's Matthew chapter 6 and verse 19. It says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doeth corrupt."
Right, so as we know, you can lay up physical treasures on earth, which are known as investments. You have, assets, cars, clothes, material wealth, real estate, lands, property, which is, of course, in the form of real estate, amongst many other things that a lot of people hold value to, strong value to, and they're willing to lose their lives for certain goods.
Okay.
Now, Yahweh Shah said to lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth. Why? Because he just backed up his point, because moth and rust doth corrupt, meaning these things can rust, rot, decay. They can depreciate. Like you have a lot of Jakes that get Camaros, Chargers, Challengers, and they basically name the car. They act like that's their baby, and then the next thing you know, it's getting repossessed.
That's right.
Or it's getting broken into and stolen. So those things are carnal things, and there's nothing wrong with having it, but it doesn't mean anything, so to speak. It doesn't appreciate. It's not as great as what he's going to expound on that in the comparative basis. And he'll speak about the other thing, which is the spiritual treasures. Keep going.
It says, "Where moth and rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal." Verse 20, "But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven."
But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Now, we know the physical treasures, which we just went into, which is material wealth. What is spiritual treasures that you can lay in heaven? Do you actually have treasures that you could throw in the heavens, and it's going to sit in the heavens in a storage unit, and it's going to appreciate, and you could actually pull it out when you need it, like 401k? No. It's talking about in the spirit, which the heavens really represents the spirit of Yahweh Shemawah Shai, and really through us, we represent the kingdom of heaven. All right? That's why when you read, matter of fact, I'm going to go to this and then we'll go right back. 2 Corinthians 4, and I'll start at 6. "For the Most High, who commanded the lights to shine out of darkness, have shined in our hearts," which is our spirits, word Hebrew word lab, which is your mind, and your word, and the mind is the holding basis, the centerpiece of the spirit. It says to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of the power in the face of Yahweh Shai. "But we have this treasure," that same treasure that is spoken of in Matthew 6, "in earthen vessels." So that treasure that we're supposed to store, the spirit of the Lord is within us. That's why you have the term investment. The word investment is in, vest goes into the word vesture, which means your vest,
your body,
or your breast. You keep the wisdom of Yahweh Shemawah Shai abreast unto you, and keep it close knit, so that it can value and appreciate within you. That's why when Yahweh Shai gave each and every one of those men those talents, they went out to the marketplace and flipped it. Did he give them physical talents? No, he gave them virtue. The virtues of wisdom, the virtues of knowledge, the kingly understanding, and they took the gifts and those spiritual traits, and they told individuals, and it was the each one teach one thing. They built upon those gifts, and the Lord blessed them and said, "All right, behold, good servant, be thou over 5 cities, 10 cities," and those are physical cities. So it's powerful in the spirit that if you do the spiritual will, you will possess physical riches, but it's always about actually tapping into the spirit, the spiritual mindset above all. Me and this brother was speaking actually yesterday about how the mindset is the most important thing, man. You can't build a kingdom. You can't build a kingdom without a kingly mindset.
Can't. It'll fall.
It'll fall. You think about these ancient kings, whether it's biblical kings, European kings in Spain and France, and the different aristocrats, and especially the heirs to the throne. Before they sat down, they had to be groomed, not physically. They didn't have to. They didn't try out cuisines and shit. They had to be mentally groomed. They had to understand that and develop a kingly attitude and a kingly mindset for that mindset to transfer and to be pushed out onto the realm to grow.
That's right.
So that's exactly what Yahweh Shah is speaking on, and we'll go back to that in Matthew.
God. It says, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt.
Right, and this type of wisdom, the so-called white man can't tap into this. He can't tap into it and charge us. You have assholes that register their ministry under a 501c3, but this is not a tangible, so to speak. Yeah. This is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
The knowledge of Yahweh Shema Shah can't be compromised.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, the only person who could take the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that you have obtained through the scriptures is the Most High, man. Esau can't take this away from us, man.
Yep.
That's why we're not into the carnal things of the world, because at the end of the day we understand that none of that stuff really even belongs to us, man.
No, we don't own anything in this society, man. Which I'm gonna get that in Hebrews, how we have no continual city. Even though we're citizens here, this isn't our city. The term citizen deals with pertaining to the city, but this isn't our city. This isn't our land. We're foreigners. We're aliens, man. You watch that movie, District 9? District 9. Those aliens that was roaming around, that represented Jake, man.
Yeah.
And they was all about what? Getting on the mothership to get delivered. And I was actually watching this interview. It was a heavy interview on Vlad. He was interviewing a real estate mogul. He was a multi-billionaire. And he was just expounding, dropping jewels about real estate investments and things of that nature. But one thing that he said was he doesn't own a house. He was like, "What's the point?" He's a billionaire. He could have bought hundreds of houses. He owns property, to flip and to make money. He was like, truthfully speaking, houses aren't really even to be owned. They're owned by the banks. Then he was going into how you have to pay all this different money, pay this money and this high interest rate, and you got to pay it for this duration of time just to pay off the bank before you actually even get to actually purchasing the house. And then it's all kind of
because when you get your loan, they put an interest rate on it. So while you paying off, you're not even paying, like the brother was saying, you're not even paying your house off for probably 5 to 10 years. In
most cases, most people have to they have to cut out basically. They're not able to purchase the house fully, and that's why they give them something known as a mortgage, which is a death pledge or a death note, knowing that you're going to pay it up until your death. Most people will try to purchase houses around 30 years old, and they'll have 30, 40 years in order to pay it off. Might be $120,000, and they never get to fully pay it off, or they end up being taken back by the banks. So it's all a scam. And that all shows that whatever you believe that you can gain and have ownership of, it basically bottoms out in due time.
Right.
You'll have these women, and especially in the black so-called Negro community, you'll have women that you marry, and the divorce rates are is high as hell. You'll marry a woman, and she end up divorcing you, putting you on child support, spousal support. Taking the children and the money away, the property that you actually possess, like these basketball players. But what happened to them? They store their treasures on earth, man.
That's right.
Instead of laying up their treasures in the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, and then they'll go through a depression, want to kill themselves and things of that nature, because they didn't have their mind right, and ultimately it befalls many men, we all get cracked by the whip of this man's system. But see, it's all about the understanding. We understand that we don't own these things. We understand that the woman that we actually have is like Tupac said, my woman's a product of this poison. She's a byproduct of this poisonous world. The children that you have, you don't own because they're a product of this world.
That's right.
You see, the cars that you purchase, the house that you may possess, is still owned by somebody that actually owns you.
That's right.
That's why you have that saying, what slaves, property can't own property. We're property. Look at your dig in your wallet. You got a social security number. You see, you got a birth certificate.
Yep.
And if you're purchasing or you're making any type of deals, or if you're trying to get a job to be an employee, which they give you an EIN, employee identification number, what you got to give you, your social security number.
Yep.
And then they'll register you in, and then they'll make you a part of their corporation, man.
Done.
So all these little things that we're associated with on this physical plane is all forms of control, keeping us pushed and directed under the control of the master puppeteer, which is the so-called white man. Is some more on that? If not, I'll bring out this precept.
Done. Yeah, some more here.
Okay.
It says, verse 21, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
So where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Like, we have cars, we have, apartments or houses that we dwell in, us brothers in the faith. But if a brother loses those things, he doesn't trip, or he shouldn't trip, for the fact that you understand, you already have a layout that, man, these things, they bottom out in due time any goddamn way.
It's supposed to come and go.
It's supposed to come and go. How many cars have you been in and eventually you have to get rid of?
Yeah.
How many women have you dealt with and you eventually have to get rid of, or something happens where y'all break up? How many shoes have you purchased that they rip up and tear apart? But see, this word of Yahweh Shem Shah, when has it tore apart?
Right.
When has it depreciated?
It's pure.
It's pure. That's right. And this precept goes exactly into it.
Yeah.
Some more on that?
Allah, that was it.
Okay. This is Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 7. Wherefore I prayed, and understanding was given me. I called upon the Most High, and the spirit of wisdom came to me. Right. And the beauty of wisdom is what? It stands the duration of time.
Yeah.
That's how you know something that appreciates. The more time actually develops, the wisdom develops within the span. You see, that's how you know something that's valuable from something that's invaluable, so to speak. As time progresses, does it retain that value? Like gold.
Yeah.
You could have ancient world gold that was mined, so to speak, in 1000 BC. It still holds the same value to today. If not, it might hold more worth. Wine appreciates. It's an appreciating commodity. You have certain assets, oil and things that resources. Those things are appreciative assets. Wisdom, books, knowledge. Those things appreciate in due time. That's why people still go back to the wisdom and the virtues of Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. You have Sun Tzu. Solomon, of course, the biblical kings, because those things hold value and they retain their value.
Yeah.
These things, the things of the world spoil like milk, man. You purchase this, say for instance, we in 2019, you purchased a 2019 car, you might.
2020 is like you out of date.
2019, you out. 2020, you out of date. Or you buy these. What's the newest iPhone? The iPhone
10X or X or whatever.
Yeah, 10X. May go for what, like $1,000 or something. You have people purchase it for $1,000. Let 5-6 years pass. Then people selling shit online for $50, man. But
nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it. You see? So this place holds no value. You shouldn't put your energy into these things because what? They rust, rot, and decay. And you got to think like an entrepreneur, a spiritual. And we did lessons on that. Like a spiritual entrepreneur, having your mind towards, all right, whatever I'm putting my energy into, man, it got to work for me.
Yeah.
You know, that's how entrepreneurs think. The work that the energy they put in, they want it to actually activate and appreciate within them, complement themselves. That's growth.
I had
A little bit more. It says, I preferred her before scepters and thrones, and esteemed riches nothing in comparison to her. And this is the richest man, one of the richest men that was known to ever live. You know, you had plenty of rich men, you know, but Solomon is the richest biblical king. And how he felt about his money, his assets, because when you read Ecclesiastes, he said he owned oxen, he had women servants, he had men servants, he had singers, palaces, gold in abundance, silver, you know, whatever, you name it. He had his naval routes that used to go back and forth through the Americas, through Hiram Abiff, and they would bring all kind of substance. He had everything under his feet. He was the king. He was king of the world at that time. But he said he didn't even compare riches unto the wisdom of Yahweh Shema Shah. That shows you how much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding stands. It towers above all. Oh, you had the book in the story in Ezra. I think it was First Ezra, if I'm not mistaken, where the men were talking about what's the greatest of all. One man said women. Another man said wine. I think another one said I think he said money, if I'm not mistaken. It was something to that degree.
It was a king.
The king, yep, he said the king. And then the fourth one said the truth, man.
Yeah.
And after that, everybody bowed down. They tapped out. It was like, oh man, you know, he hit his point. Because he expounded upon the spirit. He showed how truth is that much greater.
God.
How it's stronger. He was like, man, you know, wine is wicked. What he said, wine is wicked, women is wicked, the king is wicked.
Yeah, the king is
the truth stands before all, and everybody they were shut down after that, man.
Yeah. God.
So continuing on, I prefer her before scepters and thrones, and esteemed riches nothing in comparison to her. Neither compared I unto her any precious stone, because all gold in respect of her is as a little sand. And silver shall be counted as clay before her.
So you can't compare nothing to the wisdom, man. You know, because the wisdom is given to us by the highest power, man. You can go get a car from Edomite. You can go get a gold chain from the jewelry store. But you can't go. You just can't go out. Go to your local store and purchase wisdom, man.
You can't do it like that.
It don't work like that.
It don't work like that. And wisdom tries you. It takes time to apprehend. It takes consistency, diligence. That's why it says the love of wisdom is keeping the commandments. Faith. You know, you have these degenerates, man. Big boy chains, $1 million worth of jewelry, fat boy houses, homosexuals. You have homosexuals that live in the best of houses, driving Maseratis, $100,000 cars, man. And he's a flaming sodomite.
Right.
Just because you have things externally doesn't make you wealthy. You know, you have low class people with high class lifestyles. You know, continuing on, and you have individuals that have those things and they're still depressed.
Yeah.
You know, drug addiction. Some people commit suicide. They OD. It's always cases of overdosing. You had that one dude. I forget his name. The one white boy. I think it's Mac Miller.
Oh yeah, Mac Miller.
You know, he OD'd.
The guy from Empire, he going crazy. The faggot from Empire.
Josie Smollett, I think, something like that.
Said they caught him with a rope around his neck.
Bugged out.
Yeah, it's bugged out, man.
Yeah. Continuing on. All good things. Oh, excuse me. Verse 10. I loved her above health and beauty, and chose to have her instead of light. For the light that cometh from her never goeth out. This is poetry.
Yeah, kind of.
All good things cometh together. All good things together came to me with her, and innumerable riches in her hands. Right. So he's speaking about how all those things are of a lesser class because his mental class had to get on a level for him to understand the value of the other things around him. You know, what's the point of health? You have to have wisdom to actually know about health. You know, you have to study, you have to have the knowledge of, you know, tap into that spirit of it, and then you actually apprehend and get into whether it's herbs or you have to see the value of gold and silver. See the reason why to actually invest into these things through wisdom in order to get those things. And still, it's still so much more that comes with wisdom. Because it's not only commodities that people possess due to having knowledge and wisdom, it's their life, it's the mental change, man. The mental transitioning, how they carry themselves, how they deal with their family, how they deal with their children, how they deal with brothers, how they do charitably to elders. And you could change a whole world with the wisdom, man. You can't do that with you know, money. You know, you have certain individuals that'll take money, of course, and corrupt, but through wisdom, that's enough to positively, so to speak, restructure the dynamics of the universe, man. Continuing on, it says, "And I rejoice in them all, because wisdom goeth before them." See? "And I knew not that she was the mother of them. I learned diligently and do communicate her liberally. I do not hide her riches, for she is a treasure unto men that never faileth." So this is hidden treasure, man. You know, this is the most valuable precious commodity, because when you deal with even these millionaires and billionaires, they tap into something that most people don't see, and they dig deep, and they discover the treasure, and then they expound it up to individuals. And what happens? They show them the vision. Like you had I forget his name. It's in the Think and Grow Rich book, but you had an individual when supermarkets was being created. Before they had supermarkets, I forgot the layout, but he basically came up with the idea of the supermarket. And he was like, you know, we could actually just have people go through the line, this, that, and the other, and then they could purchase and go. And he always had plans, and his boss always shot it down. And he came up with the concept of grocery stores. He came to his boss. His boss was like, "Whatever, man. You know, here's you is with your bugged out ideas." And he took that and he started his own grocery store, and he made millions. You know, and his boss was basically like, that was the biggest regret he ever had of his life, not listening to that man.
Yeah, that's the same thing with us. You know, we trying to show the people, you know, the right way to go about things. With the people, you know, waving their hand at us. You know, but then when the plan of Yahweh Shah is revealed to the people, hey, then they will be SOL, man.
That's right. I think that's the main point. It's a lot of meat in here, but that's really the main point. You could go ahead with your.
I had Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5.
That Wisdom of Solomon, man.
Yeah, it's wisdom.
It's wisdom.
Chapter 5 and verse 8 said, "What hath pride profited us? Or what good hath riches with our vaunting brought us?" Which that word vaunting means like to be proud or to boast. You know, it says all those things are passed away like a shadow, and as a post that hasted by, and as a ship that passes over the waves of the water.
You say you can't see the ripples anymore.
It says, which when it is gone by, the trace thereof cannot be found, neither the pathway of the keel in the waves. You know, so the carnal materialistic things of the world, man, a day, a week later, or however long, man, it's not going to be there anymore. You know, it's telling you basically not to be materialistic, man.
Yeah.
You know,
that's why you have that term matter. Like people say, nothing matters. Matter is that's where you get material from. Matter is really something that's tangible. When you're dealing with science, you have liquids, you have matter, you know, solids and things of that nature. Which a solid is something that's, if I'm not mistaken, it's a form of matter. But that stuff doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't mean anything. Even though these possessions are to utilize, you can actually drink wine and you know. But this is the matrix. You know, what's truly valuable? Why were we actually set on earth? We're sent here, so to speak, through the Spirit to do something important. We have an objective, but it's always about what it is and tapping into that.
That's right.
And pushing forward in that.
That's right.
We wasn't born here to sip the finest wine and have sex with big booty women, man.
That's right.
Those are the pleasurable things, but we're not natural, what they call Epicureans, man. Our lives are supposed to be centered around the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Shema Shai and teaching our people, the elect, to wake up so that we could obtain that which we lost, which is the kingdom of heaven, and go back to the motherland, and then all things will be added unto it. That's why I said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all its knowledge. And where's the kingdom of heaven? It says, loaded. Don't look here and there, for the kingdom of heaven is within you.
That's right.
So tapping into your own potential, your own spirit. You got some more on that?
Yeah, kind of. It says, or as when a bird hath flown through the air, there is no token of her way to be found, but the light air being beaten with the stroke of her wings, and parted with the violent noise and motion of them, is passed through, and therein afterwards no sign where she went is to be found. Or it's like when the arrow is shot at a mark, it parted the air, which immediately coming together again, so that man cannot know where it went through. Even so, we, in like manner, as soon as we were born, began to draw to our end, and had no sign of virtue to show, but were consumed in our own wickedness. I think that was pretty much the point.
Yeah, and that's heavy, you know.
That's heavy.
Like it speaks about how things are just, it has a knack for coming and going. And wisdom, you can't exterminate this spirit. That's why you have in Ecclesiastes where it speaks about the poor wise man, how he saved the city, you know, because of that wisdom. And it said, yet no man regarded that poor man, you know. And even though we have the wisdom, it's still like we don't get credit, you know. Starting out with apostles and elders, you know, the world doesn't truly value the words of Yahweh Shema Shai, because you can't take it and get followers on Instagram from this.
Yeah, the scriptures tell us that they misuse the prophets, man. You know, they take you know,
light of what we say. You know, they don't, like you said, they don't see the value that comes out of this. Teaching on the highways and byways isn't gonna guarantee you a new Benz, man. It's not gonna guarantee you more women.
John.
Even though it's written. In due time, we will possess those things, as it is written, the princes shall eat in due season. Isaiah 4:1, it says that 7 women shall cleave unto one man. But the work is what's supposed to proceed first, the discipleship. And in due time, when the Lord sees fit, that's when we will possess those riches. But that's where faith comes in, which faith is a gift. When you deal with treasures, what are those? Like gifts. You look at a treasure chest, it's all kind of little rubies and stones. That's how the spirit of the Lord is. Faith with knowledge, understanding, charity. Those are like little nuggets, man.
Yeah, that big nugget is the crown.
Yep, that crown.
You know, that's the reward that we'll get, you know, for storing our riches up in heaven. You know,
and the Lord gonna drop that big boy treasure chest in each and every one of our lap, man. And I'm probably end it with this one just for the sake of time. This is Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 21. Matter of fact, I started 20. Therefore the desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom. If your delight be then in thrones and scepters, O ye kings of the people, honor wisdom, that ye may reign forevermore.
So if I could just say real quick, because it say the desire of wisdom shall bring one to the kingdom. Hey, that's why, you know, when you're around or amongst, you know, the Akim or the brotherhood, you that's the kingdom. Because what's our one of our main objectives is to desire more wisdom. You know, to get more familiar with the scriptures is desiring wisdom, man. You know, you're supposed to grow and grow each and every day in this thing, man.
That's right.
You know. So hey, we're in the kingdom right now, man.
That's right, the domicile of the king. You know, because this is the house. You know, what the scripture says, that we are the Lord's husbandry, we are the Lord's building. You know, we don't have a fat ass mansion, you know, for brothers to come inside of. You know, with men servants and maid servants, like, you know, Solomon's ancient kingdom, but we have something just as glorious and beautiful, which is the words of Yahweh Shema Shai.
That's right.
You know, the inspiration, the knowledge, that's just as valuable, even more valuable. We just read how certain men compared this wisdom unto other riches and values, and they didn't even see it in comparison.
Hey, well, Solomon didn't even ask for the riches.
Nope, he didn't.
He asked for the wisdom.
He asked for the wisdom, and the Lord gave him all.
Yeah.
You know, and seeing that he was in the right spirit because he asked for that. So even when you're praying to the Lord, don't pray for more money. Don't pray for all those things. Pray for the wisdom.
That's right.
Pray for more knowledge. Pray for more understanding, more endurance. Those beautiful characteristics, and as it is spoken of, the fruits of the Spirit, and other things will come in its time, man. That's why it says, humble thyself under the hand of the Lord, and he will exalt thee in due time. So, you had anything else you want to say?
Nope.
This is all we have for you brothers. Hopefully you brothers are edified. We're going to end it by giving all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, and Shalom, Maki.
Shalom.